Buongiorno! Greetings all. Welcome to channel Otherdoc. Once more, I am Jim. I use he, him pronouns, and this is our short campaign of Urban Shadows Lex Talionis, an urban fantasy game that is powered by the apocalypse, and we have set in modern-day Rome, Italy. We're going to go around and say hi to everybody. See once again who they are and who they are playing. We shall start again with Katy. Hello.
Hi everyone, I'm Katy. I play Serena St. John the Hallowed, and we both use she, her pronouns.
Yay. And now let us head over to Shauna. Hello.
Oh, hey, hey, I'm Shauna, playing Sirius, she, her, and I am playing, Mallory, distinct like the Foresight, and, working for a demon.
Best possible job, best possible career path. And now let us head down over to Alyssa. Hello.
Hello, buongiorno. I'm Alyssa. I am playing Emanuela, or Manny to everybody else. We both use she, her pronouns. And this week, I do have bread. I managed to put together a piece of a very nice multi-seed, multi-grain bread that has a little bit of mascarpone and some ginger rhubarb jam on it. So I'm feeling very fancy.
Bread is life. The bread is life.
The bread of bread is bread, as John Mulaney once said.
The bread is the bread of my bread. Absolutely. And now let us head over to Sara. Hello.
Hi, I am Sara. I do not have bread, but that's okay, because Kai probably eats bread. I don't know where I'm going with this bit. So I'm Sara. I use she, they pronouns. I am playing Kai the Oracle. They use they, them pronouns. And Kai is having a worse day than normal because of what they just pulled for Serena at the end of last game. So everything is fine. Everything is fine.
Yes. It's true. Something did happen. So before I get into the rambling recap, which I thought about writing it down earlier today, and then that didn't happen. So I'm just going to say stuff, which is what I usually do. But as a reminder, like we do with the other games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, hold up a red card, whatever, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we'll fade to black on it or put it behind a veil, so it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us all know that we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is we can put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think maybe that might have been a little too much, then everyone else can respond to that again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. We're also using the pause. If any of us needs to take time, we can ask for a pause in the game while we discuss things, or just take a break for as long as anybody needs. As a reminder, just a few content warnings. This game may include supernatural elements, corruption, debt, intimacy, crime, horror tropes, noir tropes, mild sexual content, and elements of the history of Rome. At any time, you can type the sort of bang CW, which does not summon the television network, but in fact, instead summons the content warning over there in the chat. To see that command also has a link to the content warnings for this game in a little more detail if you want to look at that, as you can look at that whenever you need to. Also, please remember we have an open door policy, which means any of us and any of you can feel free to step away from this at any time if you need to. It's just a game, and mental health is always more important. But now let us see if I can remember what happened last time. It was our initial session. We had Serena getting up in the morning at the villa that she is inhabiting, and talking to her fellow social media individual Ileana, who just does a lot of sort of travel related stuff, and who's there this week. Ileana, I believe, mentioned a strike. She was going to go check out that, well, not a strike, really so much a protest, I should say. A protest that is supposed to be happening today out in front of the Pantheon. And so we're sort of trying to find out. Apparently, it's got something to do with the the new line, the metro line that's going to be opening up sometime soon. We had let's see, her going up to visit Manny. Let's see. And now details are fading, but I'm just going to go over in broad strokes now, because that's what I have in my head. That Serena and Manny ended up meeting up. Manny was at her place of work, which is a little shop called Il Luogo della Tuta, which sells. Which is the suit shop, basically. It sells suits, different types of clothing. Met her partner Gina Falco, who is apparently having, has stated that there's a meeting with someone was going to be a meeting with someone from Versace coming. Serena showed up at that point, and they chatted about a few things. And in the midst of their chat, the representative from Versace showed up, and that representative, as it turns out, was Olympia Fortunato, who is perhaps immortal of some kind. We're not sure yet. Always shows up iconically wearing her massive headscarves and large sunglasses everywhere she goes. Apparently there had been prior dealings. Apparently Olympia had prior dealings with both Serena and Manny, for their adepts there, sort of suggested possible things to them. Serena, I think, then was going to start making her way toward Kai. Ended up, I think, getting on a text with everybody. Mallory, in the meantime, was waking up to see her employer, the demon, Mr. Sharp, essentially getting on her case about these couple of suits that she lost. Turned out those suits that were made by Manny were in fact a type of demon armor. That probably would be a bad idea to leave those running loose all over the place. So that is the thing that was that they needed to Mallory needs to sort of figure out. And so Mallory started texting people, like, need help, oh god, suits, try to find things out. See if anyone had heard anything. Mallory is meantime searching for these suits. Kai received a call from her buddy that she knew, or they knew as knew as Chad Williams, who currently Chad goes by Virgil, is kind of a concierge for a lot of for folks in the supernatural community, and Virgil is setting up a meeting. Has set up a meeting with Kai, with someone named Erica, and is arranging to hold it in one of his more secure locations, where he can keep an eye on everything. That's near near Trevi Fountain, so that things are a little more secure. As this is still an unknown, but someone who seems to know about the supernatural community, so that's a thing. Let's see. Other things that happened. I am remembering that toward the end of things, Serena made it to Kai, and there was because Serena had a sort of a vision herself upon trying to interact in this special way that she sometimes does with her followers, where she looks at their profile, their social media profile. In this case, it was Instagram, and trying to find out things going on in their heads. That was a thing that started to happen, but then was diverted in some way. The image that she was looking at on Instagram, the eyes all looked golden and were looking at her. And this voice that sounded kind of similar to Olympia's, that she had just heard as she was leaving the shop, was basically suggesting that in order to keep them safe, that she should do something. That Gia is leading the cats. Gia is leading the cats, she said, and that they need to be stopped. Meantime, Kai, who is surrounded by cats, turns out Gia is one of them. And Serena ended up petting. Gia just sort of nipped Serena on the hand a little bit, enough just to draw a little bit of blood, and dashed off before Serena went in, and they had their reading and had a reading done about this strange message. Normally Gia never does that, but this time, strangely, Kai did the reading for Serena, and saw a vision in the cards, in the images, correlating things together. A number of things that came forth, including an image of a symbol that was like a couple of torches, and then also something about cats, and then a few other things that Jim can't remember off the top of his head, but he knows that he said them. And then at the end, of course, the last card to come down was the death card, and that had a little bit of Serena's blood on it. And that was where we ended. Is there
totally
anything?
Fine.
Is there anything that I have forgotten to mention that is important for me for us to mention at this point? You think anybody?
I do remember that I have to go check in with our good buddy Jerry the Fairy at some point, because
yes,
Olympia sent me on it was part of erasing my debt, would be to check in on somebody named Nunzio and check in with Jerry about.
Yeah.
She wants him to keep an eye on this Nunzio, which I'm just excited to continue to say Jerry the Fairy, because I just love a good rhyme.
Well, I mean, that's it's not inaccurate.
It's what I made. This is why I'm not responsible for naming things.
The
ever.
man is a representative of the Spring Court of the Fae, so
I feel like Manny would probably call him Jerry the Fairy to his face, only to annoy him, because I don't think he likes it. Just
yeah.
It's a very childish way of behaving, but it's also very joyful to call him Jerry the Fairy.
How long have you been doing that? I think is the question.
Probably the last 200 years. So
okay, yeah,
it's
about gotten
half
a little
of my
old
life
for him at this point.
Yeah, but it's not like an every time I see him thing, but it is definitely known to needle him in just the right way.
Okay, all right, cool. Okay, so I think what we're gonna do is, aside from the fact that I have a little notebook that I see is not on my table, where I have some details I'm going to need shortly. I will see if I can find a moment coming up to leap up and grab it. But in the meantime, I'd actually like today to start. So in the time-honored tradition of these sorts of cliffhangers, I'm going to start with someone else, and I want to start this time with Mallory. So you've had this texting go on, where everyone is now aware of the suit situation, at least nominally. You haven't really sat down and talked about it, but you got the details across. Manny now knows that promise was broken. Mallory, what are you doing now?
Who responded to that thing? Was it?
I think it was. I think Mallory and I think Manny and I know that I'm going to give myself trouble now looking at Mallory versus Manny as I look at it on the screen. Two names that start with M-A and end in Y, but I shall persevere. Even yea, though there be two consonants in the grouped together in the middle. No, I think Manny and Kai responded, if I remember correctly.
All right. First things first. Kai would probably be an emergency thing in case Manny doesn't know. So I think she's gonna go to Manny first to get idea, and then go from there. Once I know what these goddamn suits look like.
Okay, so you want to arrange to meet up with Manny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Manny, you were at the shop when this texting is going on. What do you folks do when you want to? How do you want to arrange to meet? Where, when, what?
I think I'm fine with. I'll just tell Mallory to meet me at the fountain because I don't necessarily want her to come to the shop right now. So I'm just gonna leave Gina a note and be like, "Honey, I'll be back. I need to get a walk. I might get a lunch, but I'm at least gonna take a walk. So if you don't need anything, if anybody comes in for a tailoring appointment, I don't think anybody's due until later this afternoon. So just you know how to keep them busy."
Oh, I've got it. It's absolutely fine.
Perfect. And so I will. I'll head over to the Trevi fountain
show them these
from
purses.
the shop.
As she says, gesturing to this little pile of purses that sort of a Versace thing, branded things that she's just put together. I will say, Manny, as you are headed down, are you taking transportation or are you just walking?
Let me look at the map because I think it might be easier to just walk.
Yeah.
From where we are, if I remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall exactly.
Yeah,
it's in North Center you are, I guess, but.
Well, we're very close to that little triangle of North Center, Nomentano, and the Modern Center. So it's probably it's a jaunty walk.
It's a decent hike, but you can make it within probably an hour, I would guess.
Yeah. So that gives me plenty of time, and I can always take transportation back.
Okay.
If I'm gonna be running late, I'm not worried.
A
walk is good. You can smell the bakeries as you go by, which is it's later in the day, so it's not as fresh. But sometimes there's good stuff.
This is true. Let me just add, you can see that there are a number of bread places that have ciabatta today. Let me ask Mallory, is there anything you want to take care of on your way to the fountain?
I think I'm good. I think she's gonna take her. She had a long night, so she's tired. She's gonna take her car.
Okay.
Then there's traffic. Yeah.
Yeah. So sometime later. No, it's fine. So you're going from Trastevere to into the city. Now the good news is you can get into the if you're going through the old city, you can get there, and it'll probably similarly take you something like an hour. But even though it's a shorter distance, because of how that goes, I will say that on the way you do see that. Actually, you're probably not going to notice this till you get closer. But you'll notice as you get closer that there is you have folks heading out in the direction of the Pantheon. As you can see the signs of this protest going on. The Pantheon is just about a 10-minute walk from the fountain. It's not even that really if you hoof it quickly. And so it's very close. But you can't help but notice it because you drive and you park and you drive and you park and you drive and you park and you drive and you Manny, as you are headed down these various streets, sort of west southwestward toward the fountain. You will sort of imagine for a little bit that fancy you can hear someone walking next to you, and you kind of you understand what it is, because after a minute it's like he says, what did that woman want?
Business as usual, just business. You gonna just slink around behind me, or you want to say a proper hello?
I think Gino's got everything that she needs right now. I just wanted to, but for a moment. But I just is there something? You got to be careful whenever you're dealing with that woman Fortunato. I have to. It's very troubling.
Well, I would love to hear more about your take on it, and we can sit and talk about it. But I am afraid I am a little busy at the moment. Although she sends her regards, so.
Yes, I thought she might.
Is there a good story here, or is this just going to be like a dire warnings about an immortal lady that I cannot put my finger on her?
It flows from the one into the other a bit, and it's something actually I'm not permitted to talk about. But what I can tell you is I want to believe that what she wants is good for everyone. I do. And I think it is possible. But be careful, and I would appreciate it if you not cross her.
I would also like to not cross her, if I'm honest. I mean, not that the Fae go in for what do the kids call them? Vibe checks, I guess. I've seen them do this a lot. I don't know what it means, but
I have no idea.
But I'm just saying the sort of gist of what I get is this. I mean, the last time I saw her, it was, I don't know. I'm not gonna cross her, but something is setting off the bells, as it were.
That is not surprising. That is not that.
I wish there was more you could tell me, though.
If there's anything that woman has, it's bells to set off.
You'll just keep an eye on the shop, I guess, while I'm gone. I don't think she's gonna send any. She wouldn't just she's not keeping an eye on the place, is she?
Well, she doesn't need to.
Well, that's not good. That never is good. But
Not
you'll
as
have
such.
to.
In a way, I guess maybe she is. It's hard to explain.
We're gonna have to make a moment so you can talk about this with me, because I feel like this is an important. This. As much as you can.
I'd like a way to make it possible to talk about this. I can tell you that.
Would I don't know. I mean, there's that lovely oracle. Maybe they could help. I don't know if it's that kind of thing, or if you need like a old priest and a young priest, or what it is.
Well, let's not get priests involved in the.
It's a figure of speech. Don't worry, I'm not gonna set you off to them.
I saw that movie. I did. I went in. I saw that movie. I did. Finally, I did go in and see that. It's very insensitive.
Well, they don't always make hits. Let's just say. But that is among the other things that I don't get about humanity. The things they make movies about. You'd think they want to make only happy things to be happy, and they just. I don't know. I watched that Marley and Me the other day. Oh.
What is this? It's like.
Don't watch
Christmas
it.
Christmas Carol thing is a fan fiction of some kind.
No. It's like there's a dog,
what it's called, fan
but
fiction?
It doesn't end well for the dog, and that's not saying a lot. I understand, but it does not end well for the dog.
Oh no, I probably don't want to see that then.
No, but the humans think this is. They think this is a good thing to make movies about. Like, why do you want to? Dogs are already only here for so long. Why do you want to emphasize how sad that is?
Yeah, no, it's pushing out these things all over the place. They're doing this all out of the. All out of, I don't know what they're trying to do. It's Cinecittà. They're trying to just do all these modernization of these things. Fessi. I see you got me going. You got me going. I go back to the shop.
It makes it very easy. But look, we will talk about Miss Fortunato when I get back from. There's a matter that is a big deal, and I think somebody is gonna owe me one.
Good luck with that.
Big soon. Yeah. Also, do you remember those suits I made the other day? The ones with the supernatural thread. Do you know what I did with there was a little spare, not the hell thread, but the other one. I know I kept it. Do you mind digging that out for me so that I have it like right on my desk when I get back? I want to take a look at something.
Oh yeah, that one gives off it gives off something interesting.
That
Not sure
I believe.
What, but it gives off something interesting.
Yeah, I think I need to take a closer look at that when I get back.
I know where that is. I can get it.
All right, but we're gonna talk about Miss Fortunato, and I hope that it's the good story. I want to hear some good stuff.
It's gonna be a long conversation. It's probably not much come out of it, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, it's fine.
All right, be careful.
I will. You too.
Yeah. and he actually never appeared, so he can't vanish. But you stop hearing him.
It's the emotional.
Yes.
The emotional management of the moments.
So, the two of you are heading fountainward to figure some things out. And I think, once again, Manny, as you get closer, you will also note that you're coming from the other side, so you don't see as much of it, but you figure, is there a protest going on down there? Yes, probably. As you kind of round one of the higher points and can kind of look down and see where there's stuff going on down over at the Pantheon. Would that I had the elevations listed on this map so I could figure out where the 7 hills are exactly, but I cannot. So when let us shift for a moment, though. Let us shift to the frame, as there was a kind of an odd thing that happened just a little while ago. As we're going to head back to the church, and the catacombs underneath. Sort of start figuring out what we see. We have this vision, and we have the death card. What is happening?
I think Serena stays calm for a moment because she knows that the death card isn't like bad per se. You know, it's not like, it just means like new beginnings, that sort of thing. But then she sees the little bit of her blood on it, and she just goes, Kai?
Yeah? Mm-hmm.
What the fuck does that mean?
Do you need a band-aid for that? Because you're bleeding a little bit more than you thought last time. I mean, a minute ago.
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine. I'm more concerned about the cards.
I don't know what the fuck. Because, I've read for you before, you know this, that, death, it's a thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not, oh my gosh, you're going to die in the next, whatever. It's not that. It's just it's starting over. It's shedding old skin, that kind of thing. But the fact that the cat that doesn't bite bit you, and that this is the only card, and Kai's gonna pick up their deck and just sort of flip through quickly to see anything else, like, and that this is the only card that has your blood on it. That's
it's a little worrying.
A little strange. Did you do anything weird today?
Not out of the ordinary.
Okay.
I did have a vision on the subway.
Okay, I know that's not abnormal for you, but what was in said vision?
Basically, I could see, I told you about my lost followers. I lost three of them, and it's ones that were really close to me. And I had a vision about them with the golden eyes and this voice that said, I have it written down. If you want them to remain well on their paths, then Gia is leading the cats, and we must stop Gia. I don't know any Gias. I don't think so.
Yeah. And Kai's gonna look around because the cat had run off. Right, Jim?
Yeah.
Kai's gonna do the scan the room just in case the cat has come back, which of course I'm sure Gia has not.
Gia has not. There are, depending on if you get up and you look around, there are a couple other cats down here, but Gia is
Kai's just gonna do the look over the shoulder, be like, "Hey, did what happened really just happen?" And yes, it did, because the cat is not here anymore. So that cat earlier, of course, the gray one that
bit me.
The blood, yeah. She's one of the stray cats that's around here constantly, and we all call her Gia, but she is a cat. Yeah, I think she's a cat. She shows up as a cat. I don't know if she is, but that's how she appears. So are we supposed to what the fuck?
I don't know what it means to stop a cat.
Yeah, generally you can't. Cats are very stubborn and single-minded. It's kind of hard to get them to not do what they're intended on doing, but if Gia is leading the cats, that phrasing implies Gia herself is not a cat, instead of Gia, leader of cats. I don't know. I didn't major in English. I didn't major in anything. I dropped out before I graduated.
I think Serena leans back and looks around at the cats that are here, and just into the open of the catacomb just says, "Which one of you cats is covering for Gia?"
So the orange one just sort of perks up and looks at you. The black one kind of just immediately does that thing where it sort of pulls back in a second and dives into a nearby tomb. The orange one just sort of is looking around for a second and just sort of is like,
I'm not gonna get anywhere with this.
Not with the orange one, no. I say this out of character as an owner of an orange cat. He is lovely and not going to be helpful.
He's slowly,
but no,
he's slowly
not from the orange
over.
one. Yeah, just scratch his ears. Hi. Yeah, he's gonna be of no help.
I don't know what it means, and I have no idea what I'm supposed to do to stop a cat from leading other cats. I don't even like cats. I have a feeling I'm allergic to them.
Do you need some Benadryl? I have that too.
I don't want to sleep all day.
Okay, that's fair. So the cats, you saw your followers, your missing friends, and the weird voice said, if you want them to be okay, stop Gia leading the cat, something
basically along those lines, yes.
Gave you no indication who Gia is, what Gia wants, or what she's doing with the cats and what that has to do with. Okay, yeah, visions are really useless. I gotta tell you. They do not come with a translation book. There is no they're just saw one the other day that was just trees blue. No idea what that was supposed to mean. Blue like the color. Just no, they're not. So visions are not my favorite. So I feel that pain. Still don't know how to interpret that though. I feel like Gia has to be that cat, because coincidences aren't a thing.
Also, I am just reminded that we haven't done your opening move yet, but if you like, we can just grandfather over from previous
Yeah, because I didn't use
end
it
up using it
last time.
And this is the same. We haven't had a break in the timeline yet.
Yeah,
we haven't advanced forward. So I think you had, was it 2 hold from that one?
I rolled really high, so
Yeah,
I got whatever the top.
You got the thing. You got the upper thing.
Yeah, I got the high number. I know how to play games.
And so
Foretelling, so the beginning of a session, roll with spirit on a 10. Yeah, I have 2 hold.
Okay, yeah. So you still have that hold. We'll just say in this session. So.
Yeah, I can spend that to declare that something is terrible about to happen, and then we all get a +1 to avoid it. So that's cool.
I think that at this point, Serena leans back again and looks at Kai. Do you want to come to a protest with me?
I mean, no, but yes.
Well, which one is it? It's either no or yes.
I mean, I don't want to go. I have 0 interest in this protest. I don't understand what's going on, but I desperately want to know what the fuck this is all about, and I feel like that's involved somehow. So I don't want to go, but I do.
Usually I stumble upon answers anyway, so I'm hoping that happens again.
Yeah. Honestly, that's half of what this is just speaking words out loud until something makes sense. So, yeah.
She checks her very expensive watch. And looks at it and says, well, we have a little bit of time if you've got like a customer or something.
The thing with Erica was later tonight, right?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Kai pulls out their phone, scrolls through. You know, they had a couple of cancellations this afternoon or some space that they didn't think so. I've got space. I got time. So, Kai will like peek at the next card on the deck. Because they do that sometimes to be like, hey, maybe I can make this not suck. And no, it's like the tower or something. So they quickly, nope, not gonna flip that over to see what happens. And I mean, was the protest now or was the protest later?
I think everyone was setting up.
Okay.
So we'll probably make it right when it starts.
Yeah, we can go. I'm good. I can shut down for the day.
Awesome. Yeah, Serena stands up and stretches. And like, because Kai has said yes, she's already on the single-minded. She's leaving the catacombs, already has her bag and everything. She's ready to go.
Yes.
It's like, hey, I gotta blow out the candles. You know, it's a bad idea to leave those around with like all the dead stuff it can catch. So quickly folds everything up, puts cards back in cases, back in their bag. Kind of quickly runs through their end of day ritual a little faster than normal because Serena's there waiting to go somewhere. So he blows out candles, any incense or anything else they had going, you know, puts all the mystical crystal, other things that people are expecting when they walk into an Oracle tarot reading shop, puts all that away in functionally like a plastic container from Target that gets hid behind something. And so it keeps the mystery, but it's well stored. And then does one last sweep, just looking to see if they can find Gia, and then will follow Serena to go find this protest, which, if I believe correctly, is about trains and religion.
Yeah.
Yes. And as you were kind of doing that, and you had. I presume when you looked at your phone that you had like these, you know, you again saw these, you know, the tail end of these various texts coming out from Mallory about, you know.
Yeah. There's something. Have you seen Suits by any chance, Serena? I mean, Mallory seems to be missing something. I don't really know what's going on. I haven't back-read the group chat yet.
I saw some Suits and I went and saw Manny today, but that's about all.
Okay. I'm just gonna send Mallory a bunch of like IDK ? Sorry for the like. Whoops, you know. Sorry I didn't respond immediately. I still don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. Can't help.
Is Mallory going to send anything back? You're almost there, at the fountain. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I think
you're muted.
That's fine. Don't text and drive.
No, she doesn't. she sends text, but sometimes it takes her a while to like respond. Like once
She's like,
so it'll probably be like another like half an hour or something before she's like, oh, that's right, someone.
I have to imagine there's a lot of texting and driving going on in Rome just because of how the traffic is.
I think it's just like I think you just see, if you were to see outside of like her car, it's just like
awesome. Well, I believe now just so that I can check in here, we've talked about doing a break about every hour. Do we want to go ahead and take our first break now?
yes, please.
All right, let's go ahead and do that. We will be back in a little bit. This break will probably be a tiny bit longer than the other one, but we will be back in a few minutes. We will see you soon. We have returned. And let's see. We had we have people converging on various places. The fountain. We shall attend to the fountain. Incidentally, folks have been getting. I've been informed that as I checked with Shauna, that apparently Mallory has been texting occasionally. On this occasion, she doesn't always do this, but she's texted that it's like her location out, just so you know where she is right now.
It's when she needs things.
Yeah.
Maybe it's only those. Like it's not.
So I will say that Serena and Kai, as you're heading in the direction of the Pantheon, you do know that apparently Mallory is heading that Mallory and probably Manny are heading for the fountain.
Says nothing helpful about the traffic. Yeah. So like
this is true. But so you're all in close proximity to each other at this point, though not necessarily within visual sight yet. So let's hop over to the fountain for a little bit. Trevi Fountain has a wealth of activity about it. Most days during tourist season, which is basically whenever it's warm, it is packed. It's one of those things. I probably should have grabbed a picture, although I know everyone at this point's probably seen it from stuff I've shown separately in the Discord. But it is it's a big fountain with this very, very ornate statuary carved into it. They took out the entire back half of a building to get it carved back in the. Well, it took like 100 years or so to get it done. Back sort of Renaissance to Baroque era, as they were planning it. Designed at first by a gentleman named Bernini, finished in part by a gentleman named Panini. Who, as it turns out, is also a Fae. I haven't really said what Fae court Panini is from, but we'll see if they get involved or not. But you have at it. So you have this wide pool with. Into which water is pouring from different orifices from these that come out of this big sort of statuary. You have images of sort of seahorses. You have images of people that perhaps are meant to represent deities or deity-adjacent beings. In the center, you have the sort of the statue of Oceanus, the Titan. Some people think that that's supposed to be Neptune, but it's actually, I believe, supposed to be Oceanus, in fact. You have this, it comes in sort of an oval, half oval. The fountain comes out of this building in front, and then you have these walkways around it and a couple of tiers, and those tiers are filled with people. You have, and also further beyond in the square that Trevi Fountain occupies, you have a lot of shops. There are a crap load of gelateries on the way. Basically, if you're walking in this part of Old Rome, you can pretty much throw a rock and hit a place that serves gelato. And so a lot of eateries, a lot of touristy things. So basically, many of these things, various stands that people have to whereby they do stuff, sell stuff, and so there are quite a few. Mallory is gonna probably arrive there shortly after Manny does, just because of how these things tend to work. As you see, there's this, you have this kind of press of bodies. I'm gonna say it's not peak tourist season, so it is navigable. So you can get around, but you're still, there's a bunch of people. In between you and wherever you want to go, so you will have to navigate through them to get places. And so, what is it when you arrive? Is there anything special you would like to do?
I'm gonna wait for Mallory to get here, and I'm going to specifically wait to buy gelato, even though all Manny wants is the gelato. So I'm gonna wait for Mallory to get there because I'm gonna make a point I'm gonna use the old tried and true method of dealing with a naughty child by offering something sweet and then laying on the punishment.
Okay, yeah.
If she has lost the suits.
Yeah, I think you see Mallory come in from a little while away. She looks just haggard at this moment. I think maybe she just got sick and just parked her car wherever she could and just hoofed it the rest of the way, because it was just I'm so sick of this. I might as well just I'll pick up the car again. F it.
Yeah.
I've gone ahead and displayed the fountain for anyone who for anyone in the audience who wants to see sort of a little picture of it. So you're sort of. You're there. So you are there. There are Manny. You will see. That you think you didn't see him, but you heard Jerry earlier. Sort of in the area, sort of across the square. So you think that he's probably leading a group of tourists around right now. But,
if he passes and we can make eye contact, I will give him the Spring Fairy Court sort of wave that means we need to talk. So it's like a little peace symbol that just wiggles twice. We gotta talk.
Yeah.
She never wants to use that symbol with Jerry, but boy is she ready.
Yeah. And you see he's pointing things out to folks as he's going around. He's carrying an umbrella that he's using. Today, I'd say he's using an umbrella that has a big sort of a handle with a big sort of star carved into it at the end, on the end, so people can recognize it and see it. Some places, actually, people are required to register with their own specific umbrellas, depending on where you are. I don't know if they have that in Italy.
I don't know, but I think for flavor, it's nice.
It's a good, it's a good practice anyway. So that way, that it's you don't follow the wrong tour guide, right? So as you pass by. As he sort of is, and you can kind of, Mallory, you see this guy too, as Manny just sort of is looking kind of over your shoulder. You sort of glance back and you see this guy. He's about, I want to say about 5'9", and he's wearing, he looks very, very clean, very neat, very sharply dressed. He has sort of graying black hair that is closely cut. He is wearing despite the I'm going to say it's fairly probably getting closer to spring at this point, but it's not quite there yet. So, as I said, it's not peak tourist season, but some people will come here because colder in other places. So he is wearing a jacket with elbow patches. And he's got a bow tie and a vest. And sort of as he passes by, if you do you want to do name facery on this guy, or do you already kind of feel as though you have a sense of who this is?
Yeah, let's do it. Name face.
Okay. So if you want to put a name to a face, you may roll that with wild.
Okay. Cool. Where is how do you roll for the wild?
So in the sheet, you will go down to where you see those moves in the middle column.
Mm-hmm.
There's just above those rolls.
Okay.
It says there's a drop-down menu that lets you select the 4 different factions / circles.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
there we go.
Either you don't know him or you owe him, I believe is the choice when you get a 6 on this. I think that it is possible that you have seen this guy around if you come to the fountain a lot. Mm-hmm. So it'll sort of depend. I don't know that you necessarily would have direct dealings with him. So I think the easiest way to go with is probably just that you don't know him.
Yeah.
If we want to sort of place it there, unless you can think of something that
I don't know him, but whenever we meet I've seen this person way too many times at this fountain.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, so you've seen him.
Yeah.
As far as you're aware, this is a tour guide.
Yeah.
And so he will. He will sort of Manny. He will kind of you'll catch his eye, and you do that, and he's Jim wishes that he'd taken the time to learn the hand signals. There's an entire language of hand signals in Rome, but
there are a lot. I never memorized all of them either. They're really hard.
Yeah.
I remember the don't care one because that was one that we used in my family a lot.
But also, but I mean, so he will nod as he's, because he's not from here, so he doesn't use them as readily as a lot of folks do. But I mean, he's learned them. But he will nod to you, and he'll kind of crack a half smile as he's turning, and he continues then sort of in his semi-bombastic fashion turns and points out and is pointing out some of the things on the fountain as they're going past. They've probably done their first pass at this point already. For me, you can tell it's winding down, so he'll probably be free soon.
Yeah. I just don't like that he cracked a half smile at me. It means he knows I need something from him, and I don't like that.
Well, he's been around since, at least to the best of your knowledge, since at least Arthurian times.
Yeah.
So he's picked up a few things. He is a bit of a. There are times when he can be a bit of a cartoonish oaf, but at the same time, he's not completely dense.
No, but it's like annoying an older sibling. Like, I don't want him to know that I need him, but I also do need him at this point to ask a favor. So it's fine.
So the two of you, you're at. Have you gone to the fabled gelateria, or are you?
I assume as soon as Manny finishes her catching with Jerry, she's just gonna see Mallory and just be like, "Oh, honey, you've had a day, haven't you?"
Yeah, a bunch of assholes just like.
Why don't we talk about it over gelato? She's just gonna like immediately grab her arm and kind of like that way that like when your parent grabs your arm and it's like a little harder than you're expecting because you know you're in trouble, but trying to like be pleasant because you're in public. It's exactly that kind of like, we're gonna go talk about it.
I'm coming, okay?
Okay. So, I saw the text messages. I don't know what the little papal symbol means, but you know, you kids and your communication styles don't make sense to me. But you lost them.
I misplaced them.
That's kind of similar to losing them, is it not?
Well, losing means there's no chance of me finding it again, and I really need to find it again, because guess what? It was important. If you had told me it's important, I would have paid better attention to it.
Oh, I
did. Back home.
Do you not remember the part where I made you swear? I made you pinky swear that you were going to get these to your boss with no issue. Do you not remember that part?
People do that all the time. I don't.
Mallory.
Thought it was just eccentric.
Mallory, you know what it means when I make somebody pinky swear on something. You know that. We've discussed this. This is why we've only ever done it that time. Because you know what that means.
Oh.
You didn't realize what you were saying, did you?
I was in a rush.
Yeah.
You know what? If you think about it, it's his fault. Because I was in the middle of a job for him. And he wants me to do this little bullshit thing, which he could have just picked it up himself. But no.
Technically, he's not allowed in my shop. Officially. Technically. There's some rules that are in place that make it so he can't technically cross the threshold. But I suppose he could have not had somebody that was so busy pick up his suit for him. I guess I'll give you that.
Still, the suits are gone. And I have... See,
okay.
I'm a good courier, and I didn't look inside, so I have no idea what these things look like. And if I can't find anything, I can't find something if I don't know what it looks like. And I was hoping that maybe you could help me with that.
Yeah, you know that's something I can absolutely help you with, but it's not going to be easy for you because you did break your pinky promise.
But do you sort of thing where you want the pinky back? Is that how that works, or what is it?
You know, I'm not a summer court fairy, so no, I don't actually want your pinky. We'll talk about it. Don't you worry. We'll figure it out. But
so it's one of those later things.
Mm-hmm. It's not gonna be an easy one.
I can't just get you more of this?
No, honey, that's not how this works.
Because you seem to like it. Every time we go there, we go with these things.
I do love. Look, this is why I have a triple scoop of this gelato, because this is a very hard conversation. It's just the pistachio's so good, and like, how do you not pick the rum raisin? But also, do you not see the double chocolate? Like,
oh, I did. I got them. I got everything. You just see that like Mallory just got like the biggest. Like, didn't have breakfast.
that Peruvian chocolate, the good old Perugia for that chocolate. But I have a move called Words Are Wind, and I think it's gonna be. I'm gonna try to get another 10 out of Mallory.
God, yeah, this is
because this was a big one to screw up. Here we go. I roll. Yeah, I think I have it set on the right thing. Let me check really fast.
Yeah, that would have been one of the ones that you can enter in, or you.
Yeah, I have it entered in. I just had to make sure it was rolling on the right stat. I think it rolls on heart. Okay. Here we go. So it's partially successful.
When someone breaks a promise to you or lies to you and you find out they owe you a debt and you take +1 forward against them. That actually is automatic, but...
Oh.
So it's not...
That's
Oh, no.
nice. I don't have to roll for that.
There's no actual roll for that.
You just told me
I'm just screwed. That's all that means.
However, in fairness, what I will say is that I think we must ask here, because this is something that we were just sort of setting up through the fiction initially, before we even started play. So my question is this something that I feel like this was already something that I feel like this is already something that that kind of has retroactively taken place, and is why you have the debt on Mallory in the first place, isn't it?
I was mostly taking the second debt for comedy effect because I'm going to make her pay for the gelato.
Oh, it's understandable. Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Fine. Yeah.
That's part one. So like what the actual debt will be for will probably be related to something with her boss. But
Okay.
I think for comedy's sake.
Well,
she's
you
like,
can totally
part of
lean on Mallory for gelato. That's perfectly
on
fine.
her for it. Just a blink. You know, she doesn't know about fairy magic. She doesn't know how many deaths she could know out of this.
Of course she
So
doesn't.
I think Manny's gonna play the chaos agent and just get as much as she can out of Mallory, because if she has to remake these suits, it's gonna be a lot of work, because that's a lot of material to get back that we don't have easy access to on this plane. So I think she'll sit her down and be like, give her sort of the like, these are the colors. There's 2 of them. You know, they should be pretty easy to identify because they do have some serious magic in them. So, just, you know, describing like the sort of shark skinny one and the one that's like a pinstripe, and just like being very like, this is what it would look like to your everyday person, so your boss can blend in as looking like some kind of finance bro. But if you look closely at them, you can see a bunch of hidden thread marks and pick stitching along it. And she's like gesturing to the jacket she's wearing that has it. My jacket doesn't have actual pick stitching. But she's like, if you pay attention to the way the pattern works, it has a bunch of hidden hell thread in it. And also this other thread that I don't understand.
Oh.
So this is like, your boss paid me a lot of money to make these suits, but let's just put it this way. If I have to make this again, it might just exhaust me
I think
to no end. Your Mr. Sharp is not an easy customer.
Oh.
You know how hard it
Only
is to
wonder.
make a suit for somebody when you have to take their measurements off paper and you can't adjust for their actual body? Oh, good lord.
I imagine it must be hard. I don't know.
Ugh,
But I imagine,
not
like, what was it?
wrong.
Mallory, when Manny like described the pattern, it might be obvious to Manny, but is it like this? I get a feeling it's it's like a calling card for the demon or some sort, like identifier.
It's basically, so the way the pick stitching she did it works is that it's set up in such a way that like he could wear it and it would have all the extra enchantments that he needs this suit to essentially walk around on this plane. Like not only is the material special, but she like put it in so that way like he could potentially actually cross into buildings that are marked for no demons entering, which is kind of why he's not allowed in the physical shop.
Yeah.
Because, you know, safety first. But also, she's just... Mr. Sharp is... I know I shouldn't speak ill about somebody, but...
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's just... He's like the human equivalent of blue cheese. Like, in theory, he should be fine, but he's awful. And I just...
That fits. You know what? That's...
I just don't like it. You know? Like, I love food is great, but blue cheese is just bad. It's just such... Anyway, I don't want to speak ill will about a customer. That's not how you get good business. Where did you lose these suits?
Oh, I was in the car. It was going fast, so.
Did you
North
not?
Modern Center?
Did you not
Maybe.
put them in your car? Where did you do the coffee cup thing and leave it on the roof?
When someone's chasing you, sometimes you put it on there, you get the card, and you just go.
Okay.
Right, Joe, for a
Well,
good couple miles. Could be anywhere.
could be anywhere.
Well, like, that's something I can take care of, but
Yeah, you better retrace some of your steps, I think.
I'm decently good at finding things. Now I know what to look for.
Now you know what to look for. You've seen what the suit bags look like.
Yeah, well, I imagine they're knowing what it is, they're no longer in those things, so I'll just keep an eye out for those suitcases then.
The two of you are going to hear from outside a little bit of a. It's like the crowd gets a little bit louder. They're not getting rowdy per se, but you see them sort of streaming past a little bit, moving. There's like more of them, and there's. It's not. It's like maybe there's. It's hard to say if it means there's something going outside or if just a big group showed up. But there seem to be more people suddenly outside at this point. One thing I also want to tell you, while we're on the topic, and just so people are aware, at least minorly, Manny will be aware of this, and the others of you might be aware of this, depending on if you think your character would know this. The Trevi Fountain is also kind of, it having been, it is important not only for the reasons of having been, finished by a Fae. Part of its properties are such that it is part of a system. It's sort of at a place, Three Roads. It's a place that represents horizons in many ways, both for that and in the imagery that they chose to put on it. It's part of a means of transit from this place to another place. You can actually apparently get to a number of different places. The idea is to throw a coin from that place into the fountain. And then you can go to the gate and go through and get to that place, and then that is meant to tether you so you can get back. The way that legend got distorted and appeared in a movie in the 1950s was that you throw a coin in and that means you'll be able to return to Rome. That's true, but it's for this very specific thing. If you're just if you throw an ordinary coin in, you're already on the plane that you need to be on, so it doesn't matter. But if you pitch in a fairy coin, you can then go to where the gate is, go through, and that will take you to the fairy realm. And so that is kind of how that works. Manny would know at least that the gate in question is inside the Pantheon. So it's it's a little bit of a walk, and you go in there and you get in the gate. In any case, that is one property that the fountain has, and as I said, the rest of you may or may not know this, depending on if you think you would know it. And we'll leave that up to you. You will see in the entrance to the gelatery, then, just sort of looking around, you see Jerry just sort of stumble into view. He's just sort of looking over his shoulder. He straightens his jacket as he's looking at the mob, and he looks around. He kind of knew to find you here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna look at Mallory and be like, all right, Kara, this is what we're going to do. We're gonna be very polite. You're gonna be a good little Piccolita, and just maybe don't say anything to this guy. Just
You mean the creepy one over there?
He's not.
The whole time.
I wouldn't call him creepy to his face, but it's not like I haven't thought it out loud at him with my face. So
Fine, I won't say anything.
I'll wave him down.
Yeah, so he strides over. He has his hands on his lapels as he does so. Right, Emanuela, I see that I see that you arrived just slightly ahead of trouble of a sort. And we seem to have rather a lot of overflow from the Pantheon area.
Oh.
Seems the protesters are getting rather, shall we say, demonstrative.
Oh. Yes, that's how people talk in this time. Yeah. So. Oh, I guess that.
Not quite. And he will nod to Mallory, just sort of,
yeah.
And
Jerry, let's make this a little bit of a brief meeting today. I have a bit of a formal request. Yeah. So I've been asked to pass on a message to you from Miss Olympia Fortunato to keep an eye on an individual named Nunzio. So that's my formal request, and if you can send back your reports on this man to me, so that I can pass them on to Miss Fortunato.
Keep an eye on Nunzio.
Well, that was the direct wording.
My God. Does she have any idea how difficult a task that is?
I'm gonna say yes, but I'm sure you can handle it. She's just gonna like pat his arm, like in that I don't actually care if you can do it or not. I just need you to do it way.
I suppose one can. I mean, not responsible for the old fellow, but it's highly irregular. Why is she worried about that now? Is there something going on? There's something going on.
Your guess is as good as mine, if I'm honest.
I should need to speak to Gloriana about this.
Okay, I mean, just like you do what you gotta do.
A distinct possibility that this is simply the thing. This is the problem. If Olympia Fortunato is demanding something of this nature, then there is probably a considerable web of trouble happening, and I don't know if this is something we need to be part of.
I don't think we have a choice at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I sort of need this to. I need you to. I need your. Hold on. I need you. I need your help. Oh, that just does not feel right in my mouth. I'm so sorry. Ugh.
Wait, I just want to make quite certain I just heard what I thought I just heard.
I'm not saying it a second time, Jerry! And she's just going to keep shoveling gelato in her face.
He just sort of turns toward Mallory. Was Emanuela Carangello in fact asking for help?
Don't answer him. Don't you
She'll just like...
Yeah. And
it's
nods.
A matter of business at this point. I already said it once. Please don't make me say it again.
Well, you see, I've rather got my hands somewhat full at the moment, but we shall see what we can do. What is this help?
Just keep an eye on Nunzio.
Keeping an eye upon an eye on Nunzio. Well, if I'm doing that, and I can, it is a bit of a task, but I suppose it might be possible. I do that.
Yes.
Well, then perhaps you can deliver the message for me.
I had a feeling you were going to say something like that. You know, she asked for you by name. So I'd feel pretty special if I were you.
Well...
You've attracted some big fish in your little pond over here. Just think what the
some
home office
some go
would say.
seeking. Well, yes, well, some go seeking rather without the bait.
Right. You need me to deliver a message.
Gloriana needs
suppose.
to. I think that Gloriana is going to need to know that at this point, Nunzio is a point of interest. And I just can't imagine that the same day that they're having there appears to be a large group blocking off access to the Pantheon, and whose overflow is coming out here, that this is a coincidence.
I'm sure you're right.
We shall have to see if we can. But I shall have to see if I can get in touch with the fellow. So, Gloriana needs to know.
All right.
Now, I understand you've got rather going concern, but it's not too difficult to nip back, provided you've still got access. That is simply the issue. If you can get through,
I can get through.
very good.
Just don't. Just. It can. Do I have to go
Misses you,
now?
by the way.
Yeah. Well, she knows where I am.
But you expect her to come out here?
No, but she knows how to get a hold. I have this. There's communications. There's ways to get a hold of me.
She will. She may actually, in fact, be coming out here within the next day or so. But then it may be too late, and that's what I worry about. You can just simply get the message to her. I'm not going to request that you put it in her hand, but just get it to her.
All right. I actually
Thank you.
I might have something to ask her about anyway. So maybe it was
Very
just
good.
on my way.
He will sort of nod, and when he came, he will sort of gesture to Mallory. A pleasure. And he just sort of looks as and as he actually is remembering this as he's trying to go. Forgive me, it's rather a lot going on. Jerry Thatcher, by the way. He extends his hand.
She'll look at it and then just look at, like, her eyes just dart to the hand and just dart back to his eyes.
Which, like, inside Manny is just loving this so much.
He just sort of narrows his eyes and he's like, he nods and he says, he sort of nods. He just sort of looks over. Really, I think we should be done with this century and just wait for the next one. And he turns and he turns on his heel and he heads out of the gelatery. I will once again, in doing my duty, I will ask if Manny, Gloriana is someone you already know who this is. So unfortunately you're not going to be able to roll on this, but if Mallory wants to, you may do the name facery.
Sure, let's do it. Yep.
Okay, that's again with Wild.
She will know something at some point. All right. Oh, it's on the same one.
Yep. Yeah. So unfortunately, you can't mark Wild for this one. You could for the last one, but
just so it's just roll.
I mean, you roll with Wild, but you got to mark Wild in your if you hadn't already.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. There we go.
That helps your advantage. Okay. That's very good. Okay, that's very interesting because of who this is. So Gloriana is the Duchess of this area, this kind of part of the world for the Spring Court. There are a few of them kind of in the Europe area, but she is one.
I think
and so let's see, putting a face to name, you've dealt with Gloriana before, and so you learn something interesting and useful, or they owe you a debt, so you get to pick which one of those you want. Do you want to learn something interesting and useful, or do you want a debt?
Oh, interesting and useful.
Okay. Do.
All right, I get my.
Do. When and how do you think you met Duchess Gloriana?
God, I think it was probably business. Like most things, it's probably business involving Mr. Sharp.
Yeah, I will say she probably only comes out to the mortal world a few times a year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably something where Sharp was in a meeting with her. And let's see, the interesting and useful thing about Gloriana. Yes. So I think it was some point when there was mingle time, either a bit before her meeting with Sharp or a bit afterward. Maybe it was just before he showed up. Maybe it was like you got sent ahead to find her, and you did, and she usually, when she shows up. There are a few places in Modern Center where she shows up, so you had a little time to talk, and she seemed to be. She was sort of caring a little. She has this sort of caring, sort of almost overbearing mothering thing that she does, a little bit, and it seems like she is concerned for there's something that is concerning her about her superior, the High Queen. And this would be High Queen Nyx. You think you heard her name, and that apparently the sort of interesting and useful thing is that she kind of might have let something slip, possibly, or there's something I guess about Nyx is very young, and there was something kind of about you that reminded her of her, and she sort of felt like it's like, you see, it's sort of this relationship of sort of, see, you listen, this is good, and you got the sense that she's, and she didn't say this directly, but she feels like perhaps she's going to have to do something.
Oh.
At some point. We don't know how soon.
Trepidation.
But she's concerned.
Yeah, there is that tension. People have that want to do that.
Yeah. And the impressions that you got about when she talked about High Queen Nyx was that this is someone who had inherited her position fairly recently. And just seems to be just sort of doing stuff, and you can't just do stuff.
Yeah. You have ways of doing things.
Yes, exactly.
Then people get mad. Of course, that's something she understands.
Yeah. So that's Gloriana. So I think that that has come together. Now that that has come together, can I get an idea of sort of? I see we're. Let me ask briefly before we proceed, since we're in a quick little fermata here. We've just gone past the hour. Do we want to do another short break in a minute? Do we want to go a little further before we do that? How do we feel?
I would appreciate a break.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and take another quick break, and then when we come back, we will see what's happening at the Pantheon, because I feel as though that's going to become rather significant shortly. Let us go ahead and take our second break. We will be back shortly.
Sweet.
Greetings, one and all. We are back, and we're going to see what we have happening at the Pantheon. The Pantheon is a once again. I probably I probably could have loaded in a photo. We'll see. The Pantheon is a very, very old church. It at one time had nooks inside for a bunch of different deities from a bunch of different, even from I think from different religions. They also tried to represent in there when they could. And then when the empire turned Catholic, and then later on, and sort of you had popes doing stuff, they refurbishing things. They took the various deities out, and they would put saints and what have you in there. The nooks are still there, but that's inside the building. Now, outside the building, you have this square that is fairly wide and open. There is a fountain in it. It's a smaller fountain, certainly, than Trevi fountains, but than most fountains are. And I believe there's also a kind of an obelisk out there. There are a lot of obelisks around Rome. And today, Serena and Kai, as you arrive, you will see that there is this very large crowd. I will say, Kai, one interesting thing that you did notice. I guess this isn't that interesting, but when you left the church, that you actually the two cats did follow you, but they're the only cats following you right now. The rest of them outside.
Are there more cats around, and just those, the orange and black ones, are who's following me, or are those the only two I see?
The only two you see right now are the orange and the black that are hanging out just a bit behind you. They're following at a respectful distance. But when you get to the Pantheon, there are a few things happening. Now, you hear it before you see it. You hear just sort of this sort of shouting, a bit of rabble-rousing type stuff going on almost. But there, the sounds of this protest that are happening, as people are kind of shouting out, "No religion in the railway," or things of that nature.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, when you get into the square, you'll see a lot of people carrying signs. That are that's kind of to a certain extent scaring off some of the tourists. A bunch of the tourists are sort of sitting on the sidelines watching, because of course they are. They can't really get into the Pantheon as much, so the Pantheon doesn't have as many people in it. There are still people moving around. And this big crowd is between you and the Pantheon itself, the building. This crowd of protesters, as they're chanting. It's about somewhere upwards of 30 people, I would say.
Serena is going to take out. What now, Sarah?
Oh, I was just checking, like 30 protesters, 30 tourists, like what?
About 30-ish protesters, 30 plus protesters, and number of tourists. Also, well, we'll get to that.
Serena's going to take out her phone and just like open the camera app and sort of look through, take a couple of artistic snapshots, like for the aesthetic. But I would like to roll investigate a place of power if I could.
Ah, okay. Let's see. I'm trying to think if you'd need to be inside before you can truly do that. But no, let's go ahead and give it a shot, and we'll see. And if need be, we'll thread it in as we go. Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and you certainly may. This place of power, you will be rolling with power.
7.
Okay. So, one moment.
Yeah.
Whilst I go back and re-examine the things. Roll the faction that owns it. On a hit, you see below the surface to the reality underneath. On a 10+, you can ask the MC one question about the schemes and politics of the faction in question. So that's, yeah. So the seeing below the surface to the reality underneath. And this is really more just kind of seeing it sort of from this angle and realizing that they're restricting access to it. It reminds you of a thing that you heard once. That this is a place where apparently it's kind of was meant as a sort of a crossroads in and of itself, a metaphorical one between different cultures and different places. And one might even say between the earth and the stars, although it's not generally, if you go in and at night, if you were inside the building at night and you looked up through the oculus in the roof, it's got there's a hole in the roof, basically, that you can see the stars. At least at one time you could. Now there are probably too many lights around. Although really, this is still, old city, so not as many in this part, but still the luminance from the rest of the city probably still makes it hard. But the thing also you're seeing in the reality underneath is you get this mild sense that it is in some way very slowly being besieged. You're not sure where you get that sense from. But the weird thing is, you think you figured out where the rest of all those cats you saw outside went to, because there are a bunch of them sitting just sort of around the steps. They're sitting right on the porch, the entranceway to the Pantheon.
Are any of them Gia?
So Serena will notice that. You also get a question.
I get a question on a partial too.
No, didn't you get a? Wait a minute, did I read that wrong? No,
I got a 7.
Oh, you got a 7. I'm a moron.
No, you're not.
No, we're good. So yeah, so that's what you kind of have an idea of is that that's sort of part of the purpose of the building. That's part of sort of apparently what it does. You get the sort of sense that there is, and you think you've heard rumors there's a gateway of some kind in there, and there are a bunch of cats over there.
Just like Kai. Are any of them Gia? Because I think that's what we're both looking out for.
You're sort of looking, and you're sort of poking, and you're looking. You don't see Gia. I mean, you don't really see Gia right now among them. You do see some of them are sort of moving up and kind of like pawing at some of the protesters, which is a little weird. I think that also you will notice a couple of other things as you are out here. A couple of people. One of these people is Ileana. She is actually interviewing one of the protesters right now. She's just sort of saying, she's kind of like doing, basically she's looking, she's got her selfie stick out, and she's basically chatting up a storm with one of them and kind of looking, and it is the protester she's interviewing is actually just sort of looking very sort of stolid and very just sort of very, very straight-faced about it. She's a very sort of tall woman, and just kind of shaking her head. Seems to be trying to be monotone about it, but Ileana's kind of like doing this thing where she's being dorky and charming, and so is kind of getting to her. You also see your agent here, who rather suddenly appears because I think he spots you at about the same moment. Your agent Victor Benedetti, who is basically sweeps forward from the outskirts as kind of the two of you have come into the square, and you see he's approaching.
Serena like pulls the big brim of her hat down a little further and turns toward Kai, as like looks at them and says, "Please don't let him see me. I don't want to deal with him today."
Kai will. Kai's pretty tall. How tall is Serena?
She's very petite, so she's probably only 5'2", 5'3".
Okay, Kai's like 5'9" to 5'11", so on the taller end. So they will take a step in front of Serena, kind of blocking the her from the agent, and just start up a total BS conversation of, "Oh, let me see that picture. Yeah, that's a really good angle. I really like that." And just sort of kind of trying to body block so that her agent can't tell that it's Serena or loses track of her in the crowd.
I feel as though you're trying to mislead, distract, or trick someone.
I absolutely am. Yes.
I feel as though you should roll with mine.
I'm glad it's you and not me, because
Oh, jeez.
my mind is bad.
I got a 1. I got a +1 in that, I guess. So
I got a
that's
-2.
cool. Okay, it's a 9.
All right. So when you mislead or distract or trick someone, and you get a 7 to 9, you pick 2 from the list. The list is: you create an opportunity, you expose a weakness or flaw. You expose a weakness or flaw. You confuse them for some time. You avoid further entanglement. So you get 2 of those.
Sorry, I'm pulling up the list here because I'm a prepared player who has all the documents open.
I can also copy and paste it into the chat if you need me to.
Yeah, can you do that? Because you seem to have
Sure.
it
Absolutely.
handier than I do. Thank you.
That's yeah.
Okay.
Put it in our.
I definitely avoid. You said I can pick 2 from that.
2 of those, yeah.
Okay. Avoid further entanglement. I don't know who this person is. I don't really know why Serena is avoiding them, but I know that she wants to, and that's valid. So I definitely avoid further entanglement. And I think confuse them for some time because he clearly saw Serena and then Kai stepped in between. So maybe confuse him quite a bit about, did I see her? Did I not? Where is she? Why is she here? So just kind of avoid entangling with Serena in that, and then also confuse him, like, did I actually see her there?
Okay. Also, if you wish, this is someone upon whom you can commit name-facery if you so desire. If you want to put a face to a name, you may do that, but that's up to you. You may. I mean, it may be such that you're not even thinking about it right now.
I don't really think Kai. Yeah, Kai doesn't care about that. They're just, this is a person that Serena does not want to deal with right now, and also we have bigger problems than whatever they're going to bring. So, bye.
Okay.
I'm going to stand in front of my friend and, look at the pictures she's taken so far on her phone and gush over them and generally be obnoxiously touristy about it, even though Kai at this point probably looks like they belong in Rome.
Okay. So yeah, as you're sort of standing out in front of you, so he does this thing where he's like sort of looking, and then his phone buzzes. He sort of cocks his head, and he sort of looks up, and he seems to sniff the air.
Does he do that a lot? Like whispering to Serena?
Yeah, it's sort of his thing. He's
Okay.
he's one of the, what's the word for it? Lycanthropic persuasion.
Got it. Say no more.
He turns and he starts moving. I don't know. Are you paying attention to what he's doing? Or
Yeah,
are you
Serena
just...
is like sneaking.
Yeah, just keeping an eye out, just in case they need to continue like body blocking or
Yeah. So you see him pass by where Ileana and the person she's interviewing are, and you see that he's sort of behind Ileana's head. He kind of gives sort of a gesture of some sort to the person that she is interviewing, who seems to just kind of subtly nod in acknowledgement. And he kind of bolts eastward out of the square.
Victor does, or the person does?
Victor does.
Serena, like, makes a face. He never runs unless there's something important happening. I don't think I've ever actually seen him run. Something
Does he
must be
run
going on.
to the important things or away from them?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't know what's going on, but I'm glad I'm seemingly not involved in it anymore. Thank you, by
You're
the way.
welcome.
She's going to keep looking around the protest and listening, and I think she's going to go keep an eye out for Manny, because she knew that she had brought it up to Manny, and Manny had mentioned maybe coming by.
This is an excellent question. Okay, and I assume that there might be some surface level of texting going on, just back and forth a little bit through this whole time. So yes, let's zoom back a little bit. So we'll say that given the potential for texting and all that happening, you know roughly where you all are at this point. Kind of even just through social media, I'd say, Manny, you get a ping that Serena's at the
Yeah, not that I know what it
Pantheon.
means. Not that I understand how the social works, but I know where she
yeah.
is. I was kind of hoping to get the thread before I went over there, but if Serena and Kai are already over there, I might just look at Mallory and be like, well, I was gonna take the thread with me, but do you want to walk over to that weird protest thing and see what's up with that?
Yeah, I've been curious what the hell's going on. Also, with all this, the car is going to be stuck, so I have nothing better to do for a little while.
Yeah, I don't know why you have a car in the city, but you know what?
It's cool. It looks cool.
You
need the trunk sometimes also.
Yeah, not in my experience too often, but I guess maybe in your line of work, that would have been a good place to put the suits. When you picked them up, you could have put them in the trunk, and then maybe you wouldn't have lost them.
I know how this works. Sometimes you just don't have time to open up the trunk. Sometimes you just got to get in the driver's seat and just floor it as fast as possible.
You could also have put them on your lap in the driver's seat, but we're not here to talk about your past flaws. We're just gonna walk over. I'm gonna text Gina and be like, hey, something came up with family. I might not make it back today. Do you mind rebooking my appointment for today?
And you sort of get it back text. Okay, NP.
Cool. That's easy. And I'm just gonna I'll walk over with Mallory to where the action is.
Okay. So there's a little bit of sort of weaving that you have to do, as it looks like there's been there are a bunch of people moving away from the Pantheon. They're not like running in terror or anything, but there's this sense. I'm going to say that Serena and Kai have also kind of noticed this thing in the amongst this. You've been looking around. You've been there long enough. If you're waiting there during this time, that line of tourists. Part of the reason why they're hanging back seems to be that they're intimidated by this. Most of them seem to be intimidated by these protesters, even perhaps a little bit more than you would expect them to be. Now, Mallory and Manny, while you are heading there, the way to get from the fountain to the Pantheon, you go down a few streets, not many, a couple of streets. Usually there are like living statues hanging out there, and you have people selling things, that kind of thing. As you pass through, and you get about halfway there, when you see this gentleman in an overcoat who has been sort of, as sort of the crowd kind of has parted around him a little bit for whatever reason. He's got this sort of bubble around him of people not messing with him. He doesn't look. He looks a little overbearing, but not in a "I'm going to punch you" sort of way. He as you're looking up and you see this guy, you see him kind of he's kind of he's got kind of a little bit of an intense look. He's very sort of dark tan, very close cropped black hair. As he's sort of looking forward, and you just sort of look, and you see him kind of lock eyes with Mallory. He doesn't seem to be, and here's the weird thing, it's not like he's being intensely threatening.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like he very much intends to come over to where you are at this point.
Is it worth rolling the face namery, perhaps, on this?
You may, if you so desire.
Yeah. Do you mind if I?
Yeah,
You may, if you so desire. You would roll with night.
Okay.
This is a wind up to something that could be either good or bad for Mallory. She knows what.
Nope, I got a 3. I do not know this man. I don't know this man from any other dude on the street right now.
Nope. And Mallory, do you also want to do that, or is?
Yeah, like this. If this person is like showing interest, of course, I'm gonna just like. Does he have a gun or a knife? It's just gonna go bad.
We still get to mark. We still get to mark this too, right?
Yes, you still get to mark night. Yeah.
Nice.
You're making this roll. You get to mark night. Mallory.
Okay.
Emmanuel, Manny, I don't think you know this person. I mean, there's a chance you could owe him. This is someone who's been in the city for a while. But Mallory, you do know this person. And learn something interesting and useful. No, that's a 10 plus. And so on a hit, you know their reputation. And
that's.
I will tell you what most people know about them. Okay, so this, as those folks who can who no doubt can have been paying attention have probably realized by now, this is Victor Benedetti. He is a talent agent. He is also a werewolf. This is what most people in the supernatural community know about him. I should specify. He is part of the group Via Lupus, which is the clutch of wolves that operates primarily off of the Capitoline Hill, in that area, sort of in the Colosseum area. They claim they kind of it's a very large, one of the largest, basically the largest city-bound clutch of werewolves that typically can be found in this part of Europe. Because they claim descent from Romulus. He is kind of their negotiator person. So when he's not out talent agenting, he is making deals between supernaturals, somewhat, in the interest of his pack. He tends to do business around this area a lot anyway. So this is what you know about him. And he is approaching.
Do I know that he represents Serena? Or do I not know that? To that degree?
A lot of people, yeah, I mean, it's, I'd say that's up to, that's up to Katy. If is it known that he's your agent?
Oh yeah, he brags about it.
Yeah, he does. So yeah,
I figured if I've dealt with Serena at all, I would.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, like on
Let me
his
blink.
like business card, he has like Serena St. John's agent, something like
Yeah.
stupid like that. Like he brags about it because she's his most famous client.
Oh yeah. So yeah. This is this is Serena's agent. You know where you know that as well.
Okay, yeah. So I think initially like the reaction is like caution, but I think at this point this is more or less not going to be less. This is going to be less threatening than initially. Like if it was just someone that like once the recognition came, it's like okay, it's like she eased up a little bit.
Okay. So he will actually he'll come up. He won't block you as you're heading, but he will kind of sort of do that thing where he stops a little bit of a ways, and he's like his body language basically seems to indicate he's going to walk alongside you as you continue heading back in the direction of the Pantheon. And he, as he is looking at the sort of glances, sort of nods, sort of nods offhandedly to Manny, and then looks over at Mallory. Excuse me, we need. You're you are Mallory, is that correct?
Oh, Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Mallory James.
I don't do the sorcery. I don't do the social media thing.
No,
You
it's
need
fine.
another person? Nah.
No, it's not. No, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for some other business. If you take
of
my
course.
meaning, other business.
Mhm.
And as you
Yes.
move,
Take your meaning.
as you are moving, you do note it's actually a little bit easier. The crowd is kind of parting in front of you as you are heading toward the Pantheon. So you're making a little more progress at this point.
So is this show business or business?
This is business. This is business that I have been asked to look into here. I understand you have. And he just sort of glances over, and you see him sort of glancing over uncertainly in Manny's direction as he sort of looks back.
She's
to you.
just gonna smile, big, stupid. Like she looks more American than Italian smile, just to like grate this guy. Because who talks business like right now? She's just playing with him because it's fun.
And he's sort of like, we understand that you have access to certain individuals who can that you sometimes are in the business of procuring objects. Yes.
Allegedly, yeah.
He nods.
I've found rare items at certain points.
We've got. We may have well, it seems that we may have a need sometime very soon. Very soon.
Oh.
And there are some. And my understanding is there are a certain number of items of a particular type floating about that you might be able to help us get hold of. And it would be we would be very grateful if perhaps you could aid us in this.
And
I obviously there's more to talk about if you wish to, but I wanted to let you know this is what this is about.
Is this a lower business thing, or is it just for me? It's not with my associate, is it?
No, not specifically. Actually, I imagine he'd be in support of it. He kind of puts he does this thing where he'll sort of make a gesture as he'll make the gesture of it's like, oh, you got a good head on your shoulders, and they'll be like, it's this were we to acquire these items, then it would be of great assistance, I think, to most of us in this community. As let us say that I know also that your employer is not terribly fond of those who are rather overly spirited across the river.
Oh, that's saying it mildly, but yes.
Indeed.
Annoyance and blockage of goals, that sort of thing.
Suffice it to say, things are afoot, and we are growing more concerned about these things, and we are looking toward making a something of a more definitive stand, so that we are not overrun.
Yeah, you know what? Fair is fair. I've seen their people snooping about, so
Quite.
it's bad for business if they're all around, held their eyes. So,
And rather more of them, I think, than are supposed to be have been on this side of things.
they should stay on their side of the river. No, it's
Right.
good for them, but sometimes.
It is often difficult to keep track, of course, but no, I can't say too much yet, but there are things in motion.
Of course. And
You
know how this works. Send me the relevant information. I'll see what I can do.
Nods.
You
Excellent.
sure you wanna phrase it that way, Mallory? You sure you don't wanna get a little something out of this, maybe a little safety promise out of your friend here? That you'll be it won't harm you. You don't wanna
I'll be fine.
Okay.
It doesn't. I'll be fine.
Okay.
I've transported worse. If it's for them, it's it's not going to be. They don't like silver. I don't like silver. They don't like holy things.
That's not what that yep. Alright, yep. Alright, yep, it's not my business. I didn't realize I was making such a petty character until I started playing her. But I guess I am a fae, so of
It's
course
like,
I'm
I think
petty.
she'll like. Well, I'm certainly not going to lecture you on seamstress. So.
Oh, alright. I'm not lecturing, just saying, it seems like you might want a little more information out of this guy.
Well,
I
I'll get the
certainly do.
information. I'll get the information, and then I'll decide whether or not it's worth it for me.
I think she's gonna look at Victor, even though she doesn't know who she's like, I would feel a little more comfortable if you're gonna ask my friend here for a favor, that if she chooses not to take you up on it, that you don't hold that against her. And I think this is gonna be her trying to get a promise out of this guy in case he breaks it.
I see.
She's just, sometimes, Mallory's good at what she does, but I just, I get the sense that if she were to say no, you wouldn't be too nice about it. So I'd like a little bit of an assurance that my friend here is going to be all right. Just safety.
He looks. He looks at you for a moment, and as he's looking at you, it's almost like for a second he's got this sort of stony expression. It's like he's looking through you, and then he cracks sort of a half smile. Different from the half smile that was cracked earlier.
Yeah, well, Jerry's a different beast entirely.
Yeah. Yes. And but you can kind of see his canines almost when he says this. And he says, oh, we are honorable people of our word.
Oh, I'm sure you are, but you have to understand, it's a little hard to believe you without a firm sort of promise, I don't know you that well. You could be lying.
He says, forgive me. Are you representing Ms. James?
No.
Then I'm afraid I can't discuss this with you. But I appreciate your concern. Your friend will be fine.
Can you promise that?
I'm afraid I'm not authorized to make promises with anyone other than Ms. James at the moment.
She appreciates him at this moment. Like, oh, he knows better than Mallory did. Not make a promise with the Fae. So I think she's gonna like relax a little, and just be like, okay, all right,
And he just sort of glances. He says, and he's just sort of narrowing his eyes, and he says, "You might." Just sort of is looking. He says, "You may wish to consult your elders on the matter. They a number of them should be around. I would think tomorrow night."
Oh, so I've heard. But if my elders are good with this, then should be fine. It should be fine.
There nods all around. So
internally, is this fine? if the Fae elders are on board, this might be rough for us for a while.
You worry too much, Manny.
So the now three of you are arriving in the square for the Pantheon, and you see again this protest happening. You kind of are just sort of looking. You will see that as things are sort of going around, you can see just sort of across the way from you, which you can get to probably relatively shortly. You can see Serena and Kai, and then also between all of you and the Pantheon itself, you see the protesters, and you see that someone has detached from nearby the crowd of protesters and is heading in Serena and Kai's direction. And it is this individual is a... Let me just make sure my brain is in the right place. There it is. Okay. Shorter lady. With dark hair, tan skin. Serena and Kai, you can see now sort of just a bit beyond, just before you see Manny and Mallory, you will see Serena in particular. You will see Ileana has actually ended her interview and is seems to be approaching you.
Yeah, I got completely distracted. When I see her looking over at me,
she's like,
and approaching me, yeah, I think I sort of stand near Kai, and Kai can hear this like heavy sigh, like she doesn't want to do this, but she has to, you know? So she like,
if you need to stand in front of you again, I can do that.
Oh, it's fine. She's very nice. It's
okay.
On the Victor. Okay. She gives a lazy wave and puts her phone down and says, Ileana, it's wonderful to see you.
And she's like, and she just sort of will come over, just sort of hopping back and forth from cobblestone to cobblestone, even though it's not necessary to do so. And as she's kind of approaching, and she sort of will look up. She says, it's fantastic. I'm glad you made it.
I couldn't miss such a... I don't know what to call this. And she just sort of vaguely gestures to the protest happening.
I'm still not completely sure, but there's something definitely going down here. I think it's got to be. Hey, who's your friend?
This is Kai. Remember I told you about
Actually, she should recognize Kai. She should recognize Kai, yeah, because that's what she wants. So hang on, reverse that. She'll look over. Is this Kai?
This is Kai. Yes. See, I told you I would make the two of you meet.
Hello. Oh,
Kai,
oh,
this is my
goodness.
friend Ileana. She does what I do, sort of. But
I doesn't actually understand what it is that Serena does, so this does not clarify anything for them whatsoever.
she's sort of in the same
Yeah, she does
range as I am.
Instagram. I get it.
Exactly. She's
And-
more of a travel
yeah.
person, though.
Yeah. Okay. It's nice to meet you, Ileana.
And she'll just sort of hop forward. Oh, I've seen your videos. They're so good. And she will extend her hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cute.
I'm trying to decide something now.
Are you gonna get a vision?
I don't know. Depends on if you want to do anything.
Oh yeah, vision.
Kai is going to. Is going to. I will say that when you shake Ileana's hand, that there is, yes.
Oh, that's really what you want to hear your GM say in that particular tone of voice.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
I mean,
sound
it is
after
genuinely
the,
what you want to
eyebrow raise.
hear. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't take that move. Okay, it's fine.
So she's got this. Something feels a little odd, and you realize it's sort of this leather sort of finger glove that she's wearing. So it's the. I don't know if I'm using that word correctly. It's the glove with the fingers cut out.
Oh, fingerless gloves. Yeah.
Fingerless glove. As it kind of will brush up against your hand. There's this moment when it's like, there's a very brief moment when it's like the sound is kind of almost, I don't want to say the sound suddenly goes muffled or anything like that. It's incredibly subtler than that. But she just sort of looks you in the eye and she will yeah. She'll ask, I understand. And she'll say, I understand. I understand. I've heard that you have a really awesome sight. Maybe even.
I mean, I haven't needed contacts in a long time, so.
Yeah.
That goes right over Serena's head, by the way. She just still looks so serious.
I got LASIK, before college started, so it's pretty good.
She chuckles and she's like, oh, that's, and she'll sort of pull back and she's like, and she'll say, as she's sort of looking around, and she will kneel down for a second as she's disengaged. She'll kneel down for a second as she sees she's going to pet the orange cat that's sort of come up, and the cat kind of is like just sort of begins to weave a little bit defensively, and moves closer to you. And she sort of is like, she pulls her hand back, and she's like, "Aw."
He's a little shy with strangers. I mean, he's cool with public, and being around people, but.
And this, by the way, is the most that you've generally seen him move recently. But in reaction to anyone, usually he just lets people pet
their way through.
Yeah. And she just sort of looks up and she's like, "Isn't that it? Isn't that fascinating and adorable?"
Yes, it's certainly one of those things.
And She looks fine. Well, no. That sucks. Usually most cats just can't get enough of it. Oh, well. That's okay. She shrugs.
Can I try to figure someone out?
Sure.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions.
Oh, that's a miss
If
because I have
many.
a -2 in
Oh,
mine.
excellent. Okay.
Ooh.
Hang on. There we go. Okay.
Ouchie.
Good.
Big out.
Damn.
Okay. Well then. Hold on just a second. Let me just double check something. Do. No, okay, we're good. Yeah. So you are you're sort of looking intensely at Ileana as and then Ileana will sort of look up and notice that you are looking intensely. And I will say that Mallory and Manny, this is about when you're going to be reaching. Victor at this point is broken off from the two of you, so you can approach Serena and Kai, but you'll see.
Sorry, I wanted to. You said something about the gloves that Ileana is wearing is kind of what made. So, I have an oracle move called psychometry, which allows me to study and examine an interesting object. Now, she's wearing the gloves, so it's not like I can, take it back and study it and, whatever. So, can I see what I can get out of that just by the brief interaction and sort of trying to figure out, what's it made out of? Are there any symbols on it? Is she just cold? Is it a fashion statement?
Yeah.
Because that's where the...
Yeah, this one I think you can.
Okay. Boa spirit. Feels like a cheerleading, statement. Where did... Oh, nope, why did I roll Keeper Cool? That's not what I wanted to roll.
It's the same stat, though.
Okay, it's still Spirit.
It's still Spirit. So
okay, cool. So it's a 9, so I get to ask one of some questions.
Okay.
I feel like what is the history of this object is vague and broad enough to tell me if it's a fashion statement or something I need to be concerned about, or both.
So these pieces are coming together in your mind as you're thinking about how that felt when you shook her hand. There was a strange familiarity about it, and you weren't sure why. And I think something else that is also... I'm going to answer this question as part of everything that I'm about to explain. There are a few things that are happening. I think that... So it's like it's taking you a second because the visions are sort of locking into place. You're seeing patterns about this things and this glove, and you're sort of connecting it. While you are focused on this... I think that yeah. Okay. I think Manny and Mallory are going to get up to where Serena and Kai and Ileana are. And this is sort of Serena. Ileana is kind of giving you a sort of a look as you were sort of staring at her, and she sort of looks, is like, for a second, as though she's about to ask, she seems to be like, Serena, are you okay? And then she looks past you, and you see a few of the people who have managed to get to where the Pantheon is seem to be hurriedly moving out of the Pantheon as you see this little swarm of cats coming out. Among the people who are stumbling around out of the Pantheon, sort of in that area, you see, and whom a gentleman who both Serena, you, and Manny will recognize because it is Tom, who is also here. As we're getting around sunset, so it would be after his shift. And there's some sort of commotion of something happening in there. Kai, as you are sort of piecing together, you sort of look for you see in the fountain, you see this image as you put together in your head what this symbol you felt is. And everything sort of slows down for a second, and you get this sense of there's you hear music for a second, and you realize that it's sort of lyre music, and you see sort of in the pattern in the water as you're thinking about this glove, you realize that the image sort of was probably a lyre. And something in the back of your head tells you, Apollo, run. And this is where I think we're going to conclude this episode.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Totally fine. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
This is fine gif with the dog and everything's on fire in the mug.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Good.
Totally, everything is fine. Everything is absolutely fine.
Everything is fine.
Kai is not going to panic in an open area full of people. Nope, this is absolutely fine. Totally cool. Totally cool.
All
This is
right.
great.
Well, we have once again come to the end of today's session. We shall go around and do our outros as we are wont to do. We shall see what is coming. Let's go ahead and once again feel free to plug anything you like and tell folks where they can find you and give any thoughts you have about this session or any special or any favorite bits or what have you. And we will be starting with Sara.
This is fine. Totally fine. Completely. Hi, I'm Sara. I'm Sara of Swords on Twitter. I use she, they pronouns. Kai uses they, them, Oracle, and this is not kind of, it's literally the only place you can find me right now besides Twitter. This is my one project at the moment. So you can find me here Tuesday nights. And I'm just gonna keep repeating this is fine for a while. Like, I know what the deal is because I gave Jim all the ammo, but it's still totally fine, completely. And I'm excited that we're all in the same place and we can have like group stuff. next session. I really liked the duos that we had. Serena and Kai, and then Mallory and Manny were just great, pairs that were merging together. So that was fantastic. Personally, Jim, I don't know if you did this intentionally, but I liked the orange and black cats because that's what I have personally. So when you described them in the church of the black cat startling and running away, and then the orange cat just walking up and wanting attention, that is exactly what those cats do of my own. So Odo and Hera are officially in this game, I guess. So that was just fantastic serendipity there. So really excited to see what happens next. I still have interest in concerns about why this protest is happening, and now there's all kinds of other stuff involved. So I like how we kind of did this to ourselves, and we exploded all of our plots lining up. So excited for next week.
Excellent. And now let us head over to Alyssa.
That's my feeling right now. To get to the required bits, I'm Alyssa, play Manny. We're both she, her pronouns. Find me on Twitter at Xander Slamilton. Also on Instagram at Xander in the Wild. I'm mostly just posting about the loot on Instagram sometimes. That's a thing that I do. Other than being here on Tuesdays and having just the time of my life playing a petty fairy, which is something I never would have thought I ever wanted to do, but here we are. I am also on Sundays on Prax's channel, Praxagoria Thesmophoria, here on Twitch. Sunday nights for Romance of the Blue Rose. It is all drama all the time. It's fantastic. There I play the healer Celia Valent, who is not a sorcerer. She just knows about them because she's an academic. And as for this game, I deeply enjoy everything about everyone's characters. Like, it seems silly to say, but like every single character is just so great. Like, y'all are just so much fun to play with. I enjoyed the pairs. I love the cats. I really enjoy getting to be shitty about Jerry because that just for some reason brings me a lot of joy. I'm never not tired of how Alexis Rose Serena is. It just always makes me happy. I love Kai being concerned friend, and I love that Mallory is a disaster child. It just, all of it's great. I love it so much.
Yay! Me too. All right, and now let us head over to Shauna.
Hey, I'm Shauna, Flying Source on Twitter, and you can check out my art there and check out where I play games, including tomorrow is a big day. It's 2 games. It's a spy game on Follow Black Cats where I play an assassin, and we're getting in a car chase, and there is a drone that is probably going to blow things up. So I'm excited for that. It's probably be dangerous, and a little later on Twitch.tv/favorite, it is Blades in the Dark, Ashes of the Emperor, where it's a downtime episode. That's where all the juiciest stuff happens. So I'm excited. Probably gonna be some big consequences as everyone's kind of stories are starting to get a lot more filled in. So that's and also on Saturday you can catch me on Level Up Dice, where I get to play a sweet little Kitsune Godling on Birth of New Gods.
Awesome.
Oh, and sorry. It was so nice to get back and doing this and have the little pairs and just being a little shithead with Manny, and Manny kind of throwing that back in her face, like just keeping up. It was great. I loved it, and I want to see what happens now that everybody's in the same place and there's gonna be a disaster. It's gonna be wonderful.
Yes. Good. And finally, over to Katy.
Hi, I've been Katy. You can find me all over the internet at Katy Face. That's where I am everywhere. starting this Friday, every other Friday, you can find me on Off the Table, _the table on Twitter and Twitch, running Scum and Villainy. We have a new campaign that's starting. I'm very excited for that. You can also find me on our podcast, Of Black Glass, which comes out every other Sunday. It's a low fantasy war podcast. It's very, very dramatic. It's about women and non-binary people fighting toxic masculinity. It's very great. You can also find me on the reunion episodes of Missing Annie Lee, our Fear Itself podcast, which comes out every Friday. We do them back to back with Vanishing and Reunion. It's a story told with reoccurring characters and 2 different GMs. It's really great. And I think all I have left. Off the Table is starting our winter signups for GMs. If you're interested in GMing a shorter campaign just to test your stream chops, or you have a game that probably isn't made for an 8-session or 10-session campaign, it's just a shorter game, feel free to sign up with us. We would love to have you, and we'll be looking for players as soon as we get GMs decided. So I'll be talking about that soon, and we'd love to have you play in Off the Table. But that's me.
Did you have any final thoughts about the?
Oh yeah. I loved it. I agree with what everyone's saying. The little pairings were so perfectly good, but I'm so excited now that we're all together to see what happens and what trouble we get into as a 4-person group. I'm so ready for it, and I really enjoyed the cliffhanger. That's got me on the edge of my seat.
Good, excellent. Yes. I think that it's a little thing, but I think as far as if I wanted to pick out a moment here, if I want to be selfish for a second, I enjoyed playing Jerry.
It was great.
It was a nice little...
He's a great character to play on. He's a great foil.
But let's see. My only hope is that the various plates that I have started spinning, that we've all started spinning, are not too many to keep track of. But we'll see what happens. This is a tendency. My plats mushroom sometimes. We'll have to see what happens. But let's see. As for myself, I'm Jim Ryan. You can find me at OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter. And my website is jimmyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I have links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, and various other things. So on starting this Saturday, I'm going to be in a campaign of Fate of Cthulhu for a little while, over on Weave the Tale. They just recently rebranded channel. And Trooper SJP is running it, and so that they I had just been playing in a game with Trooper, and then I was asked to dive in on that, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I've got a little more time before I'm going to be ready to bring back Invisible Sun. That is going to happen, I hope, sometime soon. But we're doing a little campaign for a little while first over there, so looking forward to playing. Time-traveling people trying to fight the King in Yellow. So that'll be interesting. On Sundays, also Sunday afternoons, on this channel, we have our Dark Matter campaign, Ghosts of Saltmaw, which is, again, in its final little stretch. So things are moving forward, slowly but surely. And so looking forward to that. Hopefully, somewhere in the interim, I'll be also playing more Frostpunk on this channel, finishing that up soon, hopefully. And then moving on to another game, finally, perhaps, after all this time. But let's see. That's about it for now. And so when we hit the end card, we are going to send a raid over to another channel. Let me see. I had a handful of them that I was staring at. Trying to decide. So I'll figure it out, and we'll go say hi to somebody. I have a few candidates here. Kylan is streaming. So
I was just thinking Kylan. I was like, Kylan's streaming.
I was thinking we're probably going to go say hi to Kylan. So if you are so inclined, feel free to hang on and say hi with us. That will be again when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care. And we'll catch you next time. Farewell.